Hey everyone, welcome back to the Absolute Sound Show. This is going to be episode 5, and today I'm joined again with my colleague Anand from Home Theater.
Hello guys, how are you? Nice to be back after quite a long break, I would say.
Yeah, it's been a while, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, so today we're going to be discussing the final installment of this series on Home Theater, and we're going to be going through Anand's projects, or at least just a few examples of the projects Anand has done for some of our clients. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's check it out. So what I have over here is essentially one of your projects. I'm going to show it to you in a second.
Okay.
But basically, I'm going to show it to you, then you're going to tell us about this particular project and what you did for that.
Okay.
And you know, you can mention any special stuff you had to do for it. Maybe.
So basically what you want to know is my thought process
Yes. Yeah.
on why I selected certain things for this particular client.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
let's have a
So
look.
this is the
Oh,
one.
nice, okay. All right, so to start with, it just so happened that I ended up meeting two young couples and they were looking for a system for their new place. And their requirement was something which can take care of both movies as well as music, but they are not really into, how should I put it, all out, high end, but something which is decent enough. So after looking at some of the renderings from the IDs, it turned out to be a pretty interesting layout, kind of very modern, very minimalist setup.
So what was this? Okay, I guess the first question is, what kind of place was it? Was it an HDB condo?
Okay, so it's an HDB, which personally to me, I find that the space is slightly larger than some of the condos now, so it does give you a flexibility to play around with speaker configurations. But here, the main thing was I needed to understand the ID's design, because when you look at this, the way the living room has been done, it's kind of very minimalist, but it's very different. So also keeping in mind the budget which they had, and also respecting the ID, what would complement that space. So I decided to go with a brand called Elipson, one of the oldest French speaker makers. Almost, I would say, 88 plus years worth of history.
Yeah.
They're known for the round shape. So we decided to narrow down on the Planet series. I purposely selected the Planet L, which are the bigger ones for the front. We have a center speaker, which is the smaller ones, surround.
The small one is the
Planet
M.
M. So technically speaking, if you are familiar with numbers, the setup is 5, 0.1, 0.4. So 5 meaning speakers at ear level, 1 is the subwoofer, and we decided to go for 4 speakers in the false ceiling to give us the atmospheric sound. Now, the reason for selecting the Planet M's was they do have multiple accessories in order for you to place them on either the side tables, or to be able to mount them on the wall, or to hang them as pendants, or to put them on floor stands.
So the mounting options were quite varied, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's kind of the important part about, choosing the speakers. Sometimes you might want to go with something that has multiple mounting options, so you get that extra flexibility. In this case, the Elipson Planet Series, they do have quite a lot of different mounting options for that.
Right. So you're 100% right. If you look at where the couch is, so behind the couch, what the ID has used is, it's called fluted panels. I like the concept. And the challenge was, how do we hide the cables, So we planned about the cable management and decided, instead of going for placing speakers on side tables or on stands, due to whatever reasons in future, if they happen to have kids, you don't want things to be toppling. We decided to mount the speakers preferably at ear level, closer to the couch, on the fluted panels. And somehow, surprisingly, the color which they selected, which is called the Neptune Stone, matches the customer's PlayStation, because he likes gaming. Decided to go for a high-end AVR, which complements even the image as well as the sound quality. And they're using a Philips TV, which has the nice ambient light behind. So when they play a particular content, it actually follows the lighting. So it creates a nice ambience, you know, when they're having their movie night. At the same time, the Planet Else also complements when it comes to just playing normal music. And if you look carefully, we have actually tucked in the sub inside the side console, but we have used some kind of mesh which you don't really see the subwoofer physically.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you
Yeah.
basically had to conceal the sub it's in the console, or is it in that cabinet?
It's in the cabinet.
Oh,
It's in the cabinet
Okay.
at the bottom.
Mm,
So if somebody comes in, he or she wouldn't feel that there's a dedicated subwoofer, you know,
yeah.
in that system.
So was that one of the requirements of the client, or
No, so based on the design, after discussing,
with the
understanding with the ID,
Okay.
why not we use this space to place the sub,
Mhm.
you know, and the focus is, of course, on the overall aesthetics of the space.
Yeah.
Also, the speakers and everything should gel in well, you know,
Yeah,
with
but
each other.
I guess that's kind of the thing with sometimes interior design. You want to adapt the system to the interior, and you know, concealing the sub actually is a really good thing, especially for those people that don't want to see a big boxy sub.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fully agree. And then again, it's always, I would say, if you're planning to do up your place, always come over with the floor plan so that at least physically one-to-one, one can look into the pros and cons, because maybe you might think that you can place a speaker in a certain location, but there could be challenges due to structural beams or how do one route the cables, because what you want to do is to hide the cables as much as possible. So here, basically, we did a site visit, you know. From there, we went and we did the wiring works. As much as what you can conceal is concealed. So technically speaking, you don't see any cables. So it turned out to be a nice, cute setup, I would say.
So the key is to start early, right? Like before they even have the idea, they should have the interior designer already do a mock-up, or
So the key here, I would say, would be ask yourself, what is it that you want? You know, if you're doing a renovation and if you're doing an electrical works, the time would be to come in when you're planning to do your electrical works, because that's when you can decide how many power points, if you need data points at a certain location, where the cables can be run. You want to separate your speaker cables from your electrical cables. Don't run them in the same conduit. If you have a false ceiling, you know, do you have ample space in the false ceiling to mount that particular speaker, or should we, you know, lower the ceiling? Or if your ceiling is, let's say, not very high, then should we go for a different speaker, a slightly low profile, which gives us that ambience effect? So that's where it's our job, you know, we come in, and at the same time, if you have an ID and he or she has come up with any renderings, why not try to complement how the speakers should be placed, give them options. And here the good part was the ID actually ended up rendering the speakers using AutoCAD in their drawing. So if you look at the rendering and the actual, it's literally, I would say, a carbon copy, you know.
oh, that's cool.
So it turned out pretty well, I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that's the first one.